Welcome to the Lion's Share podcast, where we break down today's most impactful research and bring fresh insights from the academic frontier straight to you.
We're here to unpack some dense ideas around corporate strategy, innovation, entrepreneurship, really, and make them useful for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And today, we're tackling something I think is fundamental. Bridging that gap between, say, the structured planning of a business model and the unpredictable reality of getting a new venture off the ground.
We're looking at tools like the business model canvas, the BMC, but then crashing it against what might be the toughest factor of all, timing. Is the market actually ready for your great idea?
Exactly. It's about integrating that strategic framework, the blueprint, with the critical success factors that determine if you actually, succeed, especially alignment and, as you said, market timing. Essential stuff for anyone deep in innovation practice or research.
And let's kick off with a real curveball, something from the research that, honestly, it surprised me. Bill Gross looked at hundreds of startups trying to find the single biggest reason for success. Wasn't the amazing idea, wasn't the all-star team, wasn't even the funding. What was it?
Timing. Just plain timing. It sounds almost too simple, right? But his data showed timing accounted for something like 42% of the difference between success and failure.
42%. That's huge.
It really is. It swamps the other factors. Team and execution came second. The idea itself was third. It kind of flips conventional wisdom on its head, the idea that execution is everything.
But wait, how does timing beat the team? I mean, surely a great team can adapt, pivot, find the right moment, or survive until it arrives.
That's the logical sticking point, isn't it? But think about it this way. If the market just isn't ready, maybe the technology isn't there yet, or people aren't psychologically prepared for the shift. Even the best team brains through resources fighting upstream.
Okay, fighting against headwinds they can't control.
Precisely. But if the timing is right, if the conditions are favorable, even a less than perfect execution can get traction. And that initial traction, that attracts more resources, better funding, maybe a stronger team eventually, a chance to refine the business model.
So timing creates the opening, the opportunity window.
It creates the fertile ground, which actually makes the planning part, the blueprint, even more interesting. So let's start there. The business model canvas, the BMC.
Right, Osterwalder's framework.
Yeah.
It's pretty ubiquitous now. The goal is to get your entire business model, how you create, deliver, and capture value onto one single page.
And its value, I think, is its focus. It cuts through the noise of a 100-page traditional business plan. It forces you to be customer-centric right from the start. What's the value proposition?
It's visual. You see the connections.
Exactly. Change one block, like your pricing, and you immediately see how it ripples through, say, your key activities or your customer relationships. It makes the interdependencies obvious.
Okay, let's quickly walk through those 9 blocks. The sources often split it, right? Right side for revenue and market, left side for costs and infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a helpful way to look at it. So the right side is all about the offer and the market. You start with customer segments. Who are you serving? Then the core, the value proposition. Why do they buy from you specifically?
And then how you reach them, the channels.
Yeah.
And how you interact with them. Customer relationships, get, keep, grow.
And finally, how you make money from all that, the revenue streams.
Then you flip to the left side. This is the how, the engine room.
Right. What do you need? Key resources could be patents, people, facilities. What do you need to do? Key activities, manufacturing, R&D, marketing, who helps you, key partnerships.
Suppliers, strategic alliances, that sort of thing.
Yep. And all of that drives your cost structure. What does it actually cost to deliver that value?
It's a neat structure.
Yeah.
And you can see how different strategies play out. Think about Gillette, the classic bait and hook.
Perfect example. The cheap handle, that's almost like a cost center, maybe a key activity in customer acquisition on the left side.
Okay.
But it's entirely designed to generate massive recurring revenue streams from the expensive blades on the right side. The whole model is balanced around that hook.
Or Google's model.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Completely. A multi-sided platform. On the right side, you have search users, one customer segment who get the service for free, basically subsidized.
Subsidized by whom?
By the other customer segment, the advertisers. They're the ones generating almost all the revenue streams. It shows the BMC isn't just static, it maps dynamic strategic choices.
Which brings us neatly to the next level. Aligning this internal blueprint, the BMC, with the company's overall strategy. And this seems to be a weak spot for many.
It really does. The statistic you mentioned earlier, 59% of companies saying their innovation is ad hoc, that's Well, it's worrying.
Yeah, it suggests a lack of connection between innovation projects and the bigger strategic picture.
And that connection starts with strategic orientation. What's the fundamental approach? Are you a prospector, always seeking new markets, a defender, protecting your turf? More simply, are you competing primarily on cost or differentiation?
So a cost leadership strategy, like maybe a budget airline or Toyota historically.
Right. Their innovation focus has to be on process innovation, making things cheaper, faster, more efficient. Think Toyota production system that wasn't about fancy new car features initially. It was about fundamentally changing how cars were made.
Okay. Versus a differentiation strategy, like Apple or Tesla.
Exactly. Their lifeblood is product innovation. Breakthrough features, unique designs, superior performance or user experience. That's where their resources and innovation efforts have to flow. The orientation dictates the innovation priority.
So how do companies ensure this alignment actually happens? That the strategy doesn't just stay on a PowerPoint slide?
Well, frameworks help. One mentioned in the sources is the strategy choice cascade from Lafley and Martin. What's useful there is its focus on execution. It doesn't stop at the what and why.
It goes deeper.
Yeah, it cascades down from the big picture winning aspiration, where to play, which markets, how to win your competitive advantage, cost or differentiation, right down to the operational level. Defining the specific capabilities you need, the things you must be really good at, and the management systems, the processes, structures, metrics that will actually build and support those capabilities. It forces you to connect the dots between ambition and action, between the right side and the left side of the BMC, essentially.
And that how to win piece connects to different innovation styles too, right? The strategy research identified 3 main types.
You've got your market readers. They watch competitors closely, make incremental improvements, kind of fast followers.
And then the tech drivers.
Yeah, they're R&D focused, betting on breakthrough technology, often pushing the tech frontier first and then figuring out the market application. Think basic research labs.
And the third.
The need seekers. This is fascinating. They start with deep, often unarticulated customer needs. They live with customers, understand their frustrations, and build solutions directly addressing those pain points.
And the payoff.
It's significant. The research showed need seekers were more than twice as likely to achieve superior financial performance compared to the other two.
Wow, double the success rate. Why such a big difference?
Because they're not just reacting to the market or pushing tech for tech's sake. They're identifying and solving fundamental problems in a way that really resonates. It often leads to more disruptive, harder to copy innovations.
Okay, so we have the blueprint, BMC, the need for strategic alignment, cascade orientations, and the most successful approach, need seekers. Everything looks perfectly planned.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
But now, the wrecking ball. Timing. We keep coming back to this. The plans are static, the market isn't. How does this dynamic reality, this timing factor, break even the best strategies? Back to Bill Gross's 42%.
Right. Let's use a classic example. Online video ventures around, say, the .com bubble. Remember Z.com?
Vaguely. Big ambitions, right? Hollywood talent, online entertainment.
They don't launch ambitions. They had the idea of streaming video content, they had funding, a decent team, but they launched around 1999, 2000, and they failed spectacularly. Why?
Bad execution. Too much spending.
Partly, maybe, but the fundamental reason, timing. To watch their videos, you needed broadband internet. And back then, broadband penetration was tiny. Most people were still on dial-up modems.
So the technology infrastructure just wasn't there. The market wasn't ready.
Exactly. They were too early. The friction was too high. Now, fast forward just 5 years, 2005. YouTube launches.
Okay.
Same basic idea, right? User-generated video online. Was their initial business model brilliant? No, not really. Was the team exponentially better? Debatable, but the timing.
The timing was right.
Perfect. Adobe Flash had made embedding and watching video in a browser much, much easier. No complex software needed. And crucially, broadband penetration in the US was hitting critical mass, approaching 50%.
So people could actually watch the videos easily. The friction was gone.
Precisely. The technological and, frankly, the psychological readiness was there. YouTube took off like a rocket, despite not having a clear revenue model initially because the timing, the environment was right. Z.com had the right idea, wrong time. YouTube had a similar idea, right time.
That's a stark illustration of the 42%.
Yeah.
And it ties into Christensen's work on disruptive innovation, doesn't it? Explaining why big established companies often miss these timing windows.
Absolutely. Christensen's theory provides a powerful lens here. Incumbents, large successful companies, are almost programmed to focus on sustaining innovations,
Right.
making their existing products better for their most demanding, highest paying customers. They move relentlessly up market, chasing higher margins. Think adding more and more features to software, making cars more luxurious.
Which sounds like good business sense. Serve your best customers.
It is, in the short term. But the unintended consequence is that their products often become too complex, too expensive. They overshoot the needs of the average customer, let alone potential new customers at the low end.
And that creates an opening.
A huge opening for a disruptive entrant. Someone comes in targeting either overlooked customers at the low end with something good enough and much cheaper, or they target non-consumers, people who weren't using the complex, expensive incumbent product at all.
And the incumbent often ignores them at first, right? Because
Yeah.
it's low margin, small market.
Exactly. It doesn't fit
Yeah.
their financial models.
No doubt.
But the crucial point is why they struggle to respond even when the threat becomes clear. It goes back to the left side of our BMC.
The infrastructure and costs.
Yes. The incumbent's entire organization, its processes, its culture, its cost structure, is optimized for that high-margin, complex product world. They have high fixed costs, R&D labs, large sales forces, legacy systems, expensive facilities.
So they literally can't afford to compete effectively at the disruptor's low price point.
It's incredibly difficult. Their cost structure makes the low-end market financially unattractive, even toxic. It's a failure of strategy structure alignment. Their structure, built for the old strategy, prevents them from adopting the new disruptive one effectively. Unless they do something radical, like setting up a completely separate autonomous business unit with its own different lean cost structure, different processes, different culture, specifically designed to tackle that disruptive threat without being suffocated by the parent company's overheads.
Like Toyota creating Scion to go after a younger, lower-priced market segment, separate from the main Toyota or Lexus brands.
That's a classic example. They recognized they couldn't effectively compete at that end of the market with their existing structure, so they created a new one specifically for the task.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. We've journeyed from the necessity of a clear blueprint, the BMC, through the vital importance of strategic alignment.
Connecting that blueprint to your overall goals and capabilities.
Well, to confront this massive, almost humbling reality of market timing.
Yeah.
That 42% factor that can override even great plans and teams.
It puts planning in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So for the practitioner scholars listening, what are the core takeaways from this deep dive? I think there are a few key ones.
Go for it.
First, maybe controversially, innovation success often hinges less on the raw novelty or brilliance of the idea itself and much, much more on market readiness. Is the world technologically and psychologically ready for what you're offering? That's the timing piece.
Okay, timing first. What else?
Second, that strategic alignment isn't optional. Your choices cost leadership versus differentiation, market reader versus need seeker must be hardwired into your internal systems. Your structure, your culture, your processes, and especially that cost structure need to actively enable your chosen strategy. Misalignment is fatal.
And you mentioned need seekers having double the success rate. Any takeaway there?
Yes. If you aspire to be a need seeker, aiming for truly disruptive value propositions, you often need to challenge the existing market logic. Think about blue ocean strategy concepts, finding ways to offer something that is perceived as both significantly better and cheaper or more convenient. That often requires fundamentally rethinking the cost structure itself.
Right, breaking the existing trade-offs.
Exactly. So here's the final thought, the provocative question maybe to leave you with. If timing really is the dominant factor, accounting for that huge 42%,
Yeah.
how should innovators, especially within established companies doing corporate venturing, shift their focus? Maybe less time spent endlessly optimizing the product features or the internal team dynamics.
And more time doing what?
And significantly more time, resources, and rigor dedicated to verifying the market's actual readiness. Assessing that psychological adoption curve, that technological feasibility window. Are we asking the right questions outside the building, not just inside? It might require a whole different set of validation metrics.
Focusing on external readiness, not just internal perfection. That's definitely something to chew on.
It changes where you put your energy, doesn't it?
It certainly does. A lot to think about there.
Thanks for tuning in to the Lion's Share podcast. If you enjoyed today's discussion, share it with a friend and join us next time for more ideas worth talking about. We'll see you next time.